Thank you very much for joining us again. Elias Monsha here, coming to you live from Calgary, Alberta, from the TV Bakoeto studios. We have our resident pharmacist and the regular columnist, Mr. Jerome Kanika. And then we have my co-host and my co-presenter, General Norman Chipakopaku. And then we have several of our friends that are joining us here today. Now, we want to be very clear about the names and identity on the things. If you can, okay, so if you want to hide your name, okay, for example, like CKM is, we want you to tell us who you are so that we know you. Even if you on the screen, you want a different name, that's okay, but we need to know you. We need to know that CKM means this and this person. If not, then we are not going to bring you up here because then we don't know what you are going to say. We want to know who you are. So CKM, KCT, we want to know who you are. Let us know. General, did you have anything to say?
Musha, yes, I got the latest news about the cargo. And we have identified the clearing agency of that cargo, and we have identified a certain name, which I'll name only after I've got the clearance, that of the gentleman who is supposed to be receiving the cargo in Lusaka. But the party is trying to stop him, and they're trying to get probably a court order to get that cargo confiscated. But we have a name of the actual company which is clearing, which are supposed to receive the cargo. And if we are lucky, we might get Mr. Garin Kompo himself live. He's just arrived at home now. He might be live now to tell us what's happening. And,
we are not going to have to raise the expectations of our people only to be disappointed.
Well, in Lusaka, it's all about the network. You know what happened last time when we were at the VP. She was ready, but the network was a problem. So if he comes in, he'll come in. If he doesn't come in, fine. We will keep you posted about this cargo. They are taking action. UPND officials are taking action, but they've identified the person who was supposed to be clearing this cargo, who's actually still trying to take the cargo. That's what I'm saying. That cargo must be confiscated, because if it goes in the hands of the clearing agent and the person, it might end up disappearing. The person who's supposed to be clearing it is Mr. Chanda, but we'll give you his first name very soon.
General, just over that one, there is a letter and a memo that has been written, which I was just reading, where also should be read something. The company in India were also questioning the Emirates flight, how their cargo found in the cargo for ECZ in the same place. So I don't know what is now happening. Why those they are asking the Emirates for the same?
Jeremy and our viewers, we are dealing with crooks here. It's very, very easy for anybody to phone an Indian company today and say claim. Remember, they claim for things that the 28 houses. Somebody came up and said those are my houses. We're dealing with crooks here. They can phone an Indian company and say, no, just claim that this is your property because they've been caught. It's very, very easy. So for me, I don't believe in these Kerenkas at all. I don't. The only way that we can do is to get that property, ban it, so that then the real owner will tell us how it found itself on a chartered flight paid by the taxpayer.
All right. Thank you very much, General. Please moderate our discussion here today. We have Mr. Grant Zimba. Bazimba, Mwapolen.
Chungulopo mkwaiba munsha, chungulopo mkwaiba General wakanika mkwai na bonsa baletu mfa konsoko mletu mfuira ndeti Mwapolen mkwai.
Mkwai. Then we have Mr. Wiseman. We have So then we have Wiseman, we have Don Oscar, we have Kelabai, we have John Tembo and Ashley. What we're asking is please mute your mics unless you are speaking or being spoken to. And so I will let General go ahead and moderate this discussion. Thank you very much for joining us and keep sharing. And thank you. General.
Thank you very much and good evening and welcome back to TV Bakwetu. We have a number of issues here. With the ECZ, we have the issue of ECZ really trying to play games. They're to ban UPND from campaigning in Kanyama because of the deaths. And we have got HH's flights being grounded, he can't fly. We've got so many things which are coming on. We have the issue of the cargo, which is now mysterious cargo, and we really don't know. We have only 10 days to go, and we've got the soldiers in the streets. Now we're hearing they're patrolling at night. So these are issues which are making Zambians very worried. And our message as Kwakwetu TV is to tell Zambians to go all out and campaign, go all out and vote on the 10th. We have HH in the north. He should have been in Manta by this evening, but they refuse him to fly. So I think today is in Chitambo area, somewhere there, probably going up. And the president, Ed Kalungu, is still traveling around as usual, and nothing seems to be happening except stopping HH and ECZ trying to make it very difficult. So it's over to you, ladies and gentlemen, to tell us what you think about these issues, mainly the Kanyama issue, where we have a murder, and now UPND is told not to campaign in Kanyama with only 10 days to go. HH is told not to fly. They gave him the permission to fly, but last night they cancelled it. So it's over to you. The first person who wanted to speak was Mr. Grant Zimba, but please, let's follow the rules. Be brief. Don't go. It's over to you, Grant Zimba.
Na totera mkwai jendo na totera mkwai na tichungulopo mkwai konsoko mletu mfuira. Ichako bajira ponde foko babekara chala bena Zambia chakweba okuchira china mu Egypt muine muisaka mana nabalepu ndokwe batale bwererapo pantu mu Egypt na mwali utupo tuno twale punda tale bwererapo Farao na pajiro Farao tabwererepo barobereri auma so echo ndefo okulanda chakweba okuchira taka inde ichirema mwana wesu kabiri muikala chalo wa muri kino chalo cha Zambia na palichi nakwate nsambo ishaku ya konso kwa lefwaya nokuposha bamunina nkwe nokuposha omuntu uli onse kulwapula ku northern province ku southern ku northwestern haka inde ichirema ni competitor muri election chimwe chinefe na Edgar Lungu no banga chako bati umuntu umo mu elifali umuntu mana kabireka player goalkeeper bushe kuti yabani boleyo icho turefu okwa ba ECZ chakwe bati bateke miti mapanisho waisa uchulu pantwine azantoni Zimba mwemba wakumawa nga waisa uchulu bakonkanya pembombere bale bombera po ba ECZ yakuba bias kwa mandevu recently kwali uwafuire bali muipele kumakadesha na dakwini jero mulata tatwa mwene ba ECZ dukolembapo na ngwinkala dakushita condemn violence achitike kwa mandevu na ngokubaninga ba PF bafyo bachitire. What do we see? Mukanyama, even before investigations, they've banned UPND. What kind of a country are we? Ama investigations yapwa within 24 hours. Libe na tukwata ma investigations ya mafire tender tayapwa. Na tukwata ma investigations ya gassing tayapwa. Na tukwata ma investigations ya 48 houses zayo ba ibide ba pompwe. They are not done. But they are so quick to investigate within a few seconds and they conclude that we should ban UPND. Echo ndefo koresha bena Zambia chakwebati lyonse konsoko muri mufire mwaishi bakobati when people decides their future nishina bashita decide na ngubengala ndoko bataka inde ichire marefa okushitishe chalo ngeshubare bayingire kulwapula kuyankubepo obufi ataka inde alashtishe chalo ushe mwebekala chalo mwaitara mwanapo fe market ate mwakantemba kubachitisha efyalo ichi chelangishoke bati ba PF tabakwete message yako babena Zambia mwebena Zambia namulomba ukweba ati ntwika tushanye ukumaka pipamo pantulesa ayeleko kupanga efyalo ichalo atupangira ko feni Zambia bafye imo na pali chinga twayidekeresha fwebekala chalo fwebene tatuposere kwa mano takatupangire pwe chalo chimbiyo nishtwalusa Zambia bafye umo elo ine naipelesha ukuba sacrificial lampu general ukweba tibonsa bale chitefi bimuli chino chalo abalefu oko nawo de chalo cha Zambia ine ndino kulidinga emisepera ndino kulidinga timu la misepera tema ba youth kuyasunjira pamanda shabonga bafwa bantu nishe batulengo bature chula.
Thank you. Thank you, Zimba. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your message. Our viewers, the people in the north, Luapula, Northern Province, Mchinga, I think let's not listen to the lies. We know that Mwinwa Chisushi, he was in Kasama today. And he even refused to have phone calls. People wanted to phone him and ask him. The one question they wanted to ask him was, you are saying the economy, Mr. Kabwiri, is working in Zambia. It's very good. It's like UK and South Africa. Why is your wife and why are your children in the UK? And
chiringira okubwesha family ya bakambwiri bantu bakambwiri tribal talkings na ikwata potential ya kuleta oluli pakati kesu ndefo okwebe ikala chalo okweba chire nkarata kwena na lilemba na chisana deliver kwa commission ya kulomba uteko wa United Kingdom okweba chiwenga wesha family ya kakwambwiri bantu rakalete nkondo nifira utira muchibe mboko bati chishushita bachumfa kunyere babajire pa mafate nangafira na chisosa banya femena za watu washara tulenunkirwa mufingi fintu banya kuri corruption twashara turechwira mufebena Zambia kanshi bakambwira mwebekala chalo ndino kulemba na imbi nkarata nomba ku International Criminal Court of Justice bantu yumulandu balechita it's beyond our country ilo tukala chula muri chino chalo tukale pishanya munkondo ndefo olupalo bakambwiri bamdala bakambwira lo luka bepo jeniro ukeba tinkondo ikaba muri chino chalo tuchulire pamo ngakufwa tufuire cha pamo terupa fera kwa zimba lweko lufire lwafuira muri be uletere nkondo umbi awe nifira batira umembe minine asongera nabalere bakambwiri basongera lupo lwabo nalo tulefu alubepo tuchulire pamo mukwayi ingoma okutulika ati isoko okusuma wendo bupera bakambwiri balanda sana kabiri baya sana tudi campaign umuntu fye umu akainde ichirema ndechikana kuturonga balote akainde ichirema ponsapo wekere nyaka inde ichirema akanyerere kama sumaka inde ichirema ushebaka mbwiri bantu bamusango shana bashaka batawa kwatane nsoni chino chalo chapangirwa kumitundu yonse temula ndinoko wafyalirwa ine pado mukashi wandi na upa mkwali mumambwe na upo mumambwe ushepa kufuaya na pakupanga bana turara ushachi mutongoyo tatumona fya ipu ne figa kwete elo watira namuna mukati sote mukangupe namba bushe bakambwiri imisango mweresa yafuma kwisa ishaliko kububumbo ndefo okumiromba na kabiri uko bati imisango aleta bakambwiri yako nabona chino chalo na twikane especially for emisepera panfuka kwete future nifwe kwebene ba chino chalo bakambwiri techalo chabo beka iyo.
Thank you, Grant Zimba. Please, can you mute yourself, Grant Zimba? Thank you so much for your message, and I think Nabo for Kumushuku Zambia and all our viewers. Let me go to Mr. Mapanza Mpilimba in Zambia. Remember, you've got 2 minutes, sir. What is your view over the army, over Kanyama, and over HH's refusal? I mean, ZAF's refusal of HH to fly. Over to you, Mapanza Mpilimba.
Thank you so much. I mean, over the refusal of, ZAF and the civil aviation, actually, I did write something. I think it could have been on Twitter or Facebook, where, I even coined a code. I said the PF COVID. This is PF COVID, standing for political foolishness. PF political foolishness. C. I forgot the code, but restricting opposition visits, illegally and deceitfully. And I called it PF COVID. What they are doing is not fair. It's actually political foolishness for civil aviation and the ZAF to deny a citizen a right to fly anywhere in Zambia using his own money. That's very, very unfortunate. The deployment of the army, I think that, I have a mixed feeling about it, but I think that it might be a better evil to have the army control the situation because the police has failed. The police is working with PF cadres.
Yeah.
I sent Mr. Munsha a message on WhatsApp. The aspirant for Chilanga constituency, a young man, is being followed by a gang of PF thugs with 3 Land Cruisers wherever he goes. And one person has lost life because when they were chasing him around, one person dropped from his car and he died on the spot. The second chase they gave him, another person dropped from the car. And those Land Cruiser, one of the Land Cruisers that were chasing him, they ran over that person and even reversed again. Fortunately, that one he hasn't died, but he's critically ill. Now you can see the kind of thuggery that PF is having on UPND aspiring candidates. The matter has been reported to the police, and the police have not done anything. So why are they so quick in the Kanyama case, to find the evidence and to incriminate UPND and the Electoral Commission to make a decision to ban campaigns in Kanyama? What about what PF is doing? People have died. People have been maimed. The matter has been reported to the police, and the police is not saying anything. What is going on? It's really unfortunate, and I hope that the army at least will work to stop this nonsense which PF is doing, stop the violence, and then hope that they will be on the side of the people and allow people to vote on 12th August. And when the results come, the army should be on the side of the people. That's what I'm hoping for.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Franklin. Thank you.
I was just going to say, without the army, I think these PF thugs are going to continue doing what they are doing, and the situation is likely to be worse than not having the army on the streets. Thank you.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you that the army is more professional than the police, and I pray that they will remain professional and safeguard our people. I'm getting information that Honorable Garing Kombo is trying to join us, but the studio is full. So I've asked Munsha to try and create some space. Probably we might take one person out, but Grant Zimba, because you've already spoken, so that we allow Honorable Garing Kombo in. And I'm also getting information that the person who's trying to clear the contraband, his name is Yoram Chanda. So Yoram Chanda should be asked who imported those things, because if he's clearing them, trying to clear them, he must tell the Zambians who imported those things and what are they. Yoram Chanda is his name. So let's go back to I hope Musha is able to bring in Honorable Garing Kombo. If he does come in, I'll be able to bring him on. But let's go to Wiseman. What's your view tonight, Wiseman? Be brief, sir.
Thank you very much. I think I would suggest that me being the youngest on this meeting, I would suggest that maybe we can go with Mr. Oscar Pombo and Mukeleva. Then I should be the last one to give respect to the elders.
You are a proper Zambian young man. Okay, let's go to the to our Father Mpombo, please.
Hello, good evening to everyone, and good evening, General Chipakupaku. Thank you for your efforts and thank you for the service to our beloved country, Zambia. I'm calling from Rome, and I am a Catholic. I have a service which is very delicate, of course. I've made a choice. In what is happening in Zambia. I don't want to work in the background. I want to put my face in the so that the Zambians can recognize me as well, because what is happening it's not good for the Zambian citizens. We love our country. We love all the Zambians. We love the ruling government people as we love the opposition people. Right. General Chipakupaku, I would like to say about what has happened in Lusaka. What has happened in Lusaka, it's for me, I am a Catholic. I would repeat that several times. I know my colleagues, some of my colleagues would not side by my opinion to come out in the open. I come out in the open, and I would like to be responsible of what I am doing. And I don't want to judge anyone without facts. But here we are dealing with facts. They have already judged this young man to be the suspect of the assassin of a Zambian person, a Zambian citizen. General Chipakupaku, now I can see also Mr. Munsha, gentlemen, and all those who are watching this broadcast. If you can remember very well, I followed when Nsamansama died. By then, Honorable Kanganja issued a statement saying, foreign mercenaries, there is an opposition party who have engaged foreign mercenaries to come and cause disturbance in Zambia. And Mr. Kanganja repeated, we are appealing to the foreign mercenaries, please, can you leave Zambia? Otherwise, we'll come and deal with you. Right. And here we come now with the suspicion of, I don't know if it is 60,000 mercenaries which are being trained by UPND. General Chipakupaku, if you can help me on that. 60, is it?
They said it was Antonio who said UPND has 60,000 trained militia, was training 60,000 militia. Yes, please.
Yes.
Antonio Manza
yes.
that.
So Antonio Manza is a spokesperson of PF, and he issues such a statement. And remember, I remember with the Patriotic Front, something similar has happened. Honorable Kanganja issued a statement. We have information, credible information, that foreign mercenaries are inside Zambia and they are the responsible for the killing of Nsamansama. I hope the people who are following this broadcast can remember this, can recall this. And that was a lie. It was a lie. There was nothing like foreign mercenaries. It was the police. I repeat, the police are under our general, how can I say, the orders which come from from also, I think, I don't know whether it's a mistake, but from also our president anyway.
Well, he is the commander-in-chief.
He is the commander. He is the commander-in-chief.
There's nothing to apologize about.
Yes, so he is the commander-in-chief. So if the commander-in-chief says, no, the culprit comes from a foreign country, and after some investigations, Mr. Munsha, you are very correct in statistics. I don't know how many days it passed before they could finalize that it was a policeman. It was one of the police who shot, who made that shot. Now, gentlemen, please, we love our country. I repeat, and I want to speak to the Catholic people. I want to speak to the Catholic congregation. Don't hide yourself in front of God. We're going to be responsible of what is going on. We will be judged on what is going on. It's not something easy, something simple. It's something very serious.
Yeah.
I am a Santhia. I am born from Santhia by Mr. Munsha. Kusanthia konafia lilwaine. Kusanthia. Na alina palino instano mbanga mambo na alina koke na alina chachine. No mbandi mwina ngumbo.
Muribe na ngumbo.
Nebo ndi mwina ngumbo. Nebo ndi mwina ngumbo apasanthia. Te kuti wale tuchitango tupuba naka na ine bachishimba kambwili fwebe na ngumbo kusamfya kuluwa pula mwebo taturi tupuba twakana naka na ine nshirika puba nakana chishimba kambwili nga walina ndoleshana ine fo naina undolesha bwino na alina na nebo elo nalina nokusambirira nebo nalisambirira chishimba kambwili na madigrizi nalikwata webo nomba nshimfwa taturefa yokuyumfa turefa abena Zambia nabasale intungulushi eyo abene balefwaya na totela
Thank you so much.
very much.
Twatotela mkwai. Kanji muri bena ngumbo.
Ndi mwina ngumbo.
Imwe bena ngumbo na ifwe. One people. Nechi mochine nomba kainge mwaina songa mwaina nishi mwasangu kabena chishimba kambwiri.
Musha, we have Honorable Gary Nkombo trying to get into the studio. And
okay.
Please, can we create some space for him if we can?
So here is the thing. We do have Mr. Honorable Gary Nkombo. I don't know whether it's something to do with his device. I can see him, but his device is not yet connected. So he needs to do something to connect the volume. I don't know what he has to do, but he has to do something to connect the volume.
Are you able to bring him on?
No, and I can't even bring him on because he's not connected yet, but I can see him.
You can see him.
What it is telling me is he needs to connect his mic before you can add them to the stream.
Okay, fine. Let's proceed with this discussion then. I would suggest that we go straight to Mkeleba, and then after that we'll go to our lady. I respect ladies every time. Mkeleba, over to you. Mkeleba in Norway, over to you.
Oh yeah, hello gentlemen, good evening. And the lady, oh, that is wonderful to see. Gentlemen, we really have to be gender sensitive. Yeah, thank you so much. It is a wonderful evening, but let me not waste much time. But the priest or the father really made me laugh over his body expression. I was like, oh wow. I am from Western Province. I'm a Lozi, as you can tell from the name. Nakina Mulozi, na Mbola Silozi, handende kusina kutata. My concern, like I said, the previous broadcasting, is about the lies perpetrated by the PF. I just want to find out from legal counsel. Now I see him gone, but he'll come back. On how can we help Hakainde Hichilema? How can we restore confidence, and how can we use the legal framework to restore his ban from being the ban, to lift his ban using the legal channels instead of politicking, because the decision made by this by the Zambia Air Force is totally, they are actually acting ultra vires, and I feel that it is something that the courts, even though we feel like the judges can come in and intervene. If we were to, can we have some kind of injunctive relief? Can we apply for such kind of things using the legal team in the in the UPND to?
Okay. Womkalabai, in terms of the law, I don't know. Mr. Hakainde Hichilema has access to good lawyers, and I believe that he is right now consulting the lawyers, and I wouldn't want to intervene at all in trying to say that this is how he needs to conduct his legal affairs. So I don't know. We just don't know the details. All we know is that he's been banned. We don't know the nature of the ban. Is it because they just told him Lungu is going to Luapula? If Lungu is going to Luapula, then there is no judge who is going to compel Lungu or compel Hakainde Hichilema to be. If the state is saying that they can't be in the same province together, there is no judge. This is not a legal problem at all. It's a political issue, and that's why we need to continue prevailing upon them for the political issue. Yeah.
Okay.
I can see that from YouTube, Alison has just given us a super sticker for £10. Okay.
Okay.
Alison,
all right.
10 pounds.
May I continue? May I?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you had finished.
I'm claiming my 2 minutes. I reclaim my time. All right. Let me. It was just the issue of. I wanted to find out if there's a way, but thank you, you have explained. But we can still push people through the same channels we are using. We can push the authorities, those who are in strategic positions, who can decide, even though we know that somebody supersedes everyone. And when you have an element of dictatorship in authority, it's difficult. No matter how much you may cry foul, you will see injustices. A lot of injustice has happened during this period of time, and you cannot even doubt. You can tell, and it's like you are reading a terrible novel. When you look at what is happening today in Zambia, there's a lot going on. And the best thing I could say is, let us use this, the media and the public opinion is the most powerful tool that politicians hate. And that is why you find politicians, they rush to the media to go and cry. Any little foul thing that happens, they would go there and start crying to win the sympathy from the people. So we as Zambian can also use the same channel. We can use the media. Politicians, people in authority hate being reported of the wrong things they are doing. Right now, these guys, as we are reporting, talking about this, they are shivering. They are not sitting well. They are sleeping. They are having sleepless nights because a name has been mentioned. And how many people have listened to this person who is calling my name and telling my name or putting negative things about my name? That itself, it is a way to deter such kind of unlawfulness. The Inspector General of Police, we have judged him. Nobody today is going to talk good things about Wakangaja, the pig. Nobody is going to talk good things about the Zambia Air Force commander, just because of this part where they deliberately order, and these are unlawful orders. We know for the fact. Somebody being banned from flying, a fellow Zambian within Zambia, not that he's going abroad. Elo bayasuminisha ama cargoes from somewhere, something that does not even leave, something dead, that a gadget. Oyo mulesuminisha okuingira mukyalo illegally. Elo mulekanya omuntu, the number 2, the biggest political leader, to travel to go to Chipata. He has to be interviewed. He has to produce a passport, or they have to come up with all the military interventions over one individual, unarmed. However, let us work together and expose these injustices. Let me end there to give room for others.
General, you are muted. General, unmute yourself. General, unmute yourself.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mkeleba. I was on the phone, that's why I muted myself. Mkeleba, they just stopped HH. There's no reason. Mr. Lungu is not going in the north. And what is sad is that Chishimba Kambwiri Mwene wa Chisushi is able to fly to any part of the country without being stopped. Mr. GBM
Yes.
is able to fly to any part of the country without being stopped. The only
Zambians are seeing this.
Who can't fly is Mr. HH. So
we can
last night,
see this.
Please, can you try and mute yourself, please?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Honorable. Did you manage to let your
Can
browser
we,
access the mic?
Musha, can you mute yourself, please? Hi, Musha. Musha, can you mute yourself, please? Thank you. Now, so all these PF surrogates are able to fly anyhow, including Idina, we can fly anywhere. GBM can fly anywhere. He can go anywhere. The only person who can fly, they gave him the permit, and only last night told him, when he was supposed to fly this morning, last night they told him he can't. And to me, it's a sign of dictatorship, nothing else. Remember, these are the same people on the radio every time, ladies and gentlemen, calling this man, this Tonga man, all sorts of names. They don't want this man to appear in Kasama, in Mansa, and defend himself and show the people of Mansa that he loves them. They don't want to see Mr. HH being received by people in Sanfia, in Kasama, and in Mansa. That eats them every day. How he was received in Mkushi, Serenje, and Chtapa, they are not happy about that. So basically, to you, the Zambian voters, you can see through what Mr. Lungu is scared of. He's scared of having his lies exposed by the people in Kasama, exposed by the people in Mansa. Okay, now we have got Honorable Garin Kombo here. Madam, I'll pause you for a minute because we have one man here who needs to tell us what's really happening. And Mr. Garinkombo, Honorable Garinkombo, because if I call you Mr. Garinkombo, I'll be in trouble from Zambians. You are my friend. I call you Gary, but here I'll call you Honorable Garinkombo, okay? Honorable Garinkombo, are you able to hear us?
I'm able to hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can. At last, we've been trying for the past few days to try and get hold of you. And I know that you've been traveling everywhere, and you've been running between the police station, ECZ. There are a number of issues going on. The soldiers are out, the Honorable Garinkombo. By the way, to the Zambians who don't know Garinkombo, Honorable Garinkombo is chairman of elections, and is also standing in Mazabuka as an MP for Mazabuka. He's chairman for elections in UPND. Now, soldiers are out. Kanyama has been suspended.
Yeah.
HH cannot fly. Some UPND, a number of UPND members have been arrested because of the murder in Kanyama. Honorable Kombo, what is happening? We've only got 10 days to go. What is happening in our country? Oh, by the way, there's this mysterious cargo as well. So that is your menu for tonight, Honorable Kombo. I know it's a lot of stuff. What is happening in your own words?
Well, thank you very much for hosting me on your platform. I'm very delighted, although also stressed with what's going on here. I'm delighted to be on the platform, and I will try to share our experiences in as brief form as possible, so that maybe we can make a optimization of the time that we have. We have a challenge here. But this is a challenge that we should have foreseen from a long time ago by the way all the by-elections that were caused by PF, by way of, basically putting everyone at ransom or purchasing people to create them, that we saw. This is not the first occasion of death that we have seen in Zambia as a result of elections. We saw a death, if you want me to remind the viewers, in Livingston. In Livingston in 2013, and this is back in the day when old man Michael Sata, may so rest in peace, was still president. I personally was arrested for a trumped-up charge of having killed a PF cadre, and I've been out on a nolle prosequi since then, since 8 years ago. And every by-election that we've had has been filled with a lot of, challenges, and some of them have resulted into losing lives. And the examples that we can give you are too numerous. Kaoma is one of them. You know how a PF cadre killed Lawrence Banda. No one was arrested. And I'm sure you also recollect that at the time when the serving Minister of Health, Chitalo Chilufya, decided to evacuate a dead body from Kaoma in the disguise of, a pretext of trying to save a life. They had killed that boy in Kaoma, and then they flew him straight into the morgue, into the mortuary here in Lusaka. No one was arrested at that time. So my point really to this platform is that one life lost is one life too many, and so it didn't need for the ECZ, first of all, to jump their gun, to remove themselves from their lane and become the judge, the jury, and the hangman by, saying UPND this, UPND that. They should have just kept quiet. And because this is a matter that is within the jurisdiction of the police, to do their investigations and find the real problem and who the culprit of that death that was occasioned were. So as it were, to banish a whole club because of an incident that claimed 2 lives becomes unfair, because, just a week and maybe 10 days ago, we were burying a guy called Joram Mumba, who was killed at 11 o'clock in broad daylight by PF cadres, and no one has been arrested. And so we are not saying that we are trying to get even here, but all we are trying to say is that A crime committed as a result of electoral violence is a crime, and it should be treated as such. It should be dealt with as a criminal offense. And to banish a whole, grouping as a result of, can you imagine? I mean, look, Kanyama has got three wards, Ward 10, 11, and Ward 12. This gruesome incident must have happened in one of the wards. Why ban the entire Kanyama? You may want to know, if you know the geography of this place, is that in what was called Blue Ball, now it's called Linda Compound, is several kilometers from where Chinika, I think it's Chinika, where this gruesome incident, whose circumstances we don't even know. All we know is that at the end of the day, life was lost. It becomes unfair. Maybe they should have banned the word and allow the other, words to function. But, there are too many numerous examples I can give to demonstrate how unfairly treated we think we are as a UPND by the ECZ, who are the referees of this affair, by the police. And I've often said as chairman elections, without fear of any contradiction, that we, from where we stand, we think that the PF, the ECZ, and also the police are one entity operating in unison, basically trying to disadvantage all the other political players, especially ourselves, who are very close to the finishing line.
Okay, what is the story about the cargo, Honorable Garinkombo? What has happened to the cargo? What is in the cargo which came illegally from Dubai?
I like the way you put it, illegally. First of all, I think we must agree that there's a problem. There's a problem because we have a consignment. This consignment is very clearly ballot papers and accessories thereof, including, the primary source documents like the Gen 20s and everything that comes with an election. We have been given reason to be apprehensive regarding what happened in Uganda, when suddenly the Ugandans suffered a lack of network on an election day. We have Electoral Processes Act number 35, which governs this process of elections, and basically to state that it's very prescriptive. And one of the prescriptions is that it must have a transparent, result management program. Okay, putting it in my own words. And anything that may occasion the internet or, telephones to be jammed on the day of the elections or soon after, in order to get people to manipulate the results, will not be tolerated. So the thing that has happened about this illegal cargo is that, first of all, we are informed that we don't know the consigner, we don't know the consignee, we do not know, we know who the shipper is United Arab Emirates. There has been no answers from the United Arab Emirates. There's been no answers from the ECZ, who are the recipient of the cargo. So I sent you photographs, Norman, not long ago, of where this cargo is actually sitting right now, as I spoke to you. It's under, careful watch. We have made an appeal to the ECZ that since they have disowned this particular cargo, which we suspect is contraband that is going to be used in order to heighten the consternation in the country, heighten the anxiety in the country, by way of diminishing the processes of making a free and fair and transparent election vis-a-vis the result management program, that they must bring them to a public place, and like they do, char or ban illegal firearms, they must burn these things so that everybody can settle down. That's what we have demanded to the ECZ, that since they are not the owners of this cargo, they must quickly bring them to the fore, but still there will be answers that are required to be given. I can tell you now, without any fear of contradiction, once again, is that we know from where we stand here who the clearing agent for this contraband is. We're waiting for him to go and start the process so that we can now know who the ultimate owner is. And the individual that is at least appeared to try and clear this contraband answers to the name Yoram Chanda. And so for those who know Mr. Yoram Chanda, time has come now for us to name and shame. We would like to understand from Mr. Yoram Chanda who is his client, who is paying him for the service to clear these telephones, the welding machines, and all sorts of gadgets that came on a Zambian public consignment, a consignment that is going to determine the destiny of this country by way of an election. Did people go to Dubai for business transactions to come and import welding machines, telephones? We suspect they're satellite phones. We really don't know what they are, but we demanded to know from the ECZ what these things are. We want to know. And on behalf of those voiceless Zambians, we have got a right to know, to understand whether, those who chartered the plane using public resource decided to sneak in some private cargo in there, maybe for pecuniary gain, or that kind of thing. We have to have answers. Now we have 9 days before the election, and we demand that those answers be given. I suspect that tomorrow Mr. Chanda may present his papers at the National Airports Corporation or ZEGA, whoever is keeping that stuff in the airport. We know exactly the person who's managing that warehouse. We know everybody who's involved there from the entire rank and file. And so we've got our eyes wide open to understand exactly what kind of manipulation is at play here. So we are not letting go. We are appealing to all the stakeholders. Mind you, Norman, we have political parties, 15, 16 presidential candidates, most of whom are just surrogates of PF, who are quiet at this point in time and not worried about what this contraband is all about. So we have picked up the cue ourselves as UPND to make a demand to the ECZ. And the ECZ must stop playing games today. They must just stop, because they're tinkering around, they're playing around with the security of this country. They must tell us who consigned those items. I sent you the pictures of them, you saw them. I have not what it takes, because I come from the Stone Age, to show them on this platform, but maybe you do, Norman, because I sent you the pictures of those cargo.
Honorable Nkambo, we will show these pictures. What we are saying to Zambians is that Yoram Chanda should tell the Zambians who his clients are, because the information we are getting, Honorable Nkambo, is that these properties belong to PF. And as soon as you get satellite phones being imported into the country using a Zambian's government chartered plane, then it becomes very, very suspicious. And I come from a sort of a traditional military background. You know that, Gary. Anytime you start seeing things being brought in through the back door, then you know that's suspicious. We know it has been reported in the past week that there's some ship somewhere in the Mediterranean Sea with the Zambian flag, 2 ships now. All of a sudden you hear there's some strange cargo coming through. Few months ago, we heard somebody was sponsoring rebels in Rwanda. So you become suspicious to say, what is going on here? What is really, really going on here? So I think Zambians should know. And I think it's very, very important that these things be put on a pile, put petrol there, and burn them.
Absolutely.
Because they don't belong to anybody. They belong to the state. They belong to the Zambian people. Let's move on, Honorable Gary Nkambo. Why is HH being stopped from flying?
I want you to know that last week on Thursday, I did a letter, a very strong letter to the Air Force Commander, David Muma, to basically complain about the manner in which Mr. Hakainde Hichilema has been treated regarding his own airspace. And in the language of that letter, I was very succinct and I was also very clear that the sovereignty of this country is not preserved for the chosen few. Okay, and the airspace of this country must be enjoyed by everyone. But you know, these are things that we should have by now settled to know that if you recall, Norman and the colleagues who are on this platform and everybody who's watching, that the signs of the times started showing a long, long time ago. And the example that I can cite right now is one when we lost our young brother and friend, Ronald Manenga, up on the Copperbelt, who died in a car crash. Mr. Hichilema was going to go. This is now maybe 5 months ago. He was going to fly into Kalulushi South Downs to go and mourn a beloved brother and friend, the younger brother who was a provincial chairman. In the last minute, the flight schedule was cancelled, citing the fact that at that time, the President Lungu was going to be on the Copper Belt, and therefore the entire airspace of this country was closed. The entire Copper Belt became a no-go zone for anybody who's in the opposition. And, Mr. Hichilema had to address the funeral via Zoom in a church. Totally unheard of. Mr. Hichilema had to address a funeral of his beloved brother via Zoom. And we should have known then that this is what was coming. So strange as it may sound, I want to put it to you clearly here, Norman, that whatever goes up must come down, and somebody is going to answer someday for all these injustices that are going on. Regardless who they are going to have to answer, because, people must account for their behavior. People must account for their conduct. People must account for the manner, especially when you're dealing with public affairs. Look, the Zambian airspace does not belong to PF. It would never belong to Edgar Lungu. The Zambian airspace is for everyone. And it's annoying, as a matter of fact, Norman, if you want me to put it in more clear terms. It's very, very, it's an obnoxious behavior that is being exhibited by state institutions, including the ECZ, the police, and now the Zambia Air Force. Okay, now, we have been told that because of the excessive violence that we're experiencing in the country, the Zambia Army has come to try and help. Yes, they did help us during the gassing time, and we believe very, very strongly that PF had a hand in this gassing of citizens in this country. The army came and helped us. We have some confidence in the men in uniform. But some among those in uniform are PF cadres. And we are troubled. We are a very troubled lot to understand where to draw the line as to who is operating ethically, professionally, and to save the Zambians, or those who are exclusively in the interest of the club called PF. And so I think that people have said too many times that if you say it's just 9 days. All these things are going to come to an end, and we're going to have a fresh breath of air in this country. That's what I believe in myself. And when you believe, actually it does happen.
Thank you, Honorable Gary. Honorable Gary Nkombo, there is 9 days to go.
Yeah.
And we're getting reports of teachers, of civil servants who were seen wearing PF regalia only 2 weeks ago. Now these being recruited to be polling staff. What is your comment about that?
Let me tell you, this is just the icing on the cake. What you are seeing now is the icing on the cake. If you want to me to take you back down memory lane, is that in 2017 or thereabout, I moved a motion in Parliament when I was still an MP to urge government to stop victimizing civil servants who were perceived to be sympathizers of, opposition political parties. Because ever since PF came in, what has been going on is paging people, basically, exercising society. That only those who believe in PF, and it's written clearly in their manifesto, that the only PF believers are going to get jobs in the public. And therefore, it must be understood that it may have begun elsewhere, in terms of the recruitment in government. These are the jobs that PF was talking about when they said we're going to give you more jobs, lower taxes, more money in their pockets. They meant only those who believe in the doctrine of PF. And so, in terms of recruitment, I want you to understand here and now that all recruitment in the civil service has been lopsided, has been without merit. You know very well how they started paging. There was a 29-year-old doctor, a professional doctor, who I believe now is somewhere in the diaspora working, who was fired in national interest. We sang the loudest song about people being knocked out of employment due to because of national interest. I want you to know today, Norman, I never told you in our private conversations that my own kid sister was a victim of that simply because she carries the name Nkombo. She used to work for the Zambia Revenue Authority. She was knocked out soon after she was sponsored for training. But that's a discussion for another day, because I don't want to get personal about the way PF has been mistreating people who are not perceived to be their supporters. So to answer you clearly, yes, polling agents or polling staff are only so many. And in descriptive terms, I can say they're just a handful. There's a 6 million vote that is coming in 11 days' time. So this time around, Mr. Hichilema has made it very clear that this particular election is not going to be determined by those who count the votes, but those who actually vote. That's what's going to happen this time around. And everybody who is responsible for this activity, if they are, operatives of one political grouping, they must be made aware. They must be made aware in no uncertain terms that the UPND of yesteryear is not the UPND of today.
We're getting reports, Gary. Sorry to call you Gary, Honorable Nkombo.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Some things never change. Some things never change. I still remain the same person.
My Gary is always going to be my Gary.
Absolutely.
PF officials, especially ministers, are so scared that they're telling people that you must bring us back, because if PF loses, you're going to be arrested. We are going to be arrested, all of us. What's your comment about that?
I'm on record again, Norman, to say that by the nature of the kind of leader that we have, Mr. Hichilema, I know him very, very well, extremely well, and he is not a believer in retribution. That I must tell you. He is not a believer in retribution. And this is how, look at the demeanor, his demeanor at Chipata International Airport when the police were messing around with him. He told the police, we're going to look after you. We know you're under stress to do some of these things.
Yeah.
Well, I want you to know that is the leader's demeanor. That is the leader's belief of no retribution. But I want you to know that this is a matter that must be diluted with logic. I want you to know this, because Mr. Hichilema is not the only person who has suffered trouble, who has suffered humiliation from the Patriotic Front and their rank and file. We have all been in trouble with PF before for having committed no single crime. And I want you to make a clear understanding of that. We have been bullied. We have been tossed around. We have been trampled upon. There has been a lot of mismanagement of public resource in PF. You know that very well. You know, in terms of procurement, Norman, there has been a typical mess. I'm sorry to use a strong term, where, you know, a whole government can flag off expired drugs. You know, a whole government can flag off the distribution of defective condoms, putting the whole country in harm's way. Somebody must answer to all those charges. Somebody one day must answer. So even if Mr. Hichilema does not believe in retribution, there are some of us, I'm not a hardliner, but I think that somebody must answer for their, you know, the wrong that they did. That's how a normal society works. We're going to have to make sure that, you know, we bring back this whole, governance system, the whole society, the community we live in, into normalcy. And you cannot, you know, sweep the debt linen, the debt under a carpet. People will have to answer because there's impunity. I want you to know that there's too much impunity. And I think it's the biggest problem that we have in a country. If people were a little bit shy about doing the wrong things, yes, you can understand. But there's too much impunity where people think they own the country and they own it alone. And yet this whole space of 750 square kilometers of land is jointly owned by all of us, including a baby that was born today. This is how we believe in UPND. So the issue of equal rights is a belief of yesteryear in this country. It's like animal farm. You understand? There are people who are more people than others. If you look, I want to give you an example, Norman. Last Saturday, I was driving into town. At McKinney, you know, carousel traffic lights there. A car with, a Toyota Corolla with a PF Chitenga on the dashboard decided to overtake me from the left-hand side, past the traffic lights, and I was following right behind. A policeman, a woman, as a matter of fact, came and stopped them. The moment they saw the PF Chitenga on the dashboard, they gave them a go. This is what you're talking about. You know, we are living in a society that is totally unbalanced. But I think that the Zambian people think that is just refuge for now, to find some shelter. I believe that even those who are hanging around with PF Chitengas on the dashboard, when time comes to be in the booth to vote, they will do the right thing, because every institution of government has been destroyed in this country. You know, look at the inflation, Norman. Take a look at what has happened. How too much money is chasing too few goods in this country. A bag of millimeter was under repair bundle was $3. All right? Today is $145. It should tell you a story. It should definitely tell you a story. And so, you know, all these manipulations that the chickens have now come home to roost, that's what I believe. The chickens have come home to roost, and on the 12th, we will know ourselves that we are pushing a dead agenda if PF is ushered back into power. Then we'll hang our boots and say, we've been fighting a losing battle. Maybe we need to buy spectacles to make sure that we see life in Zambia as it truly is.
Honorable Nkombo, I've told people on this platform that I'm UPND and I have no apologies to make. I came back to join politics after I'd resigned from UNIP many years ago, because what I'm seeing in Zambia is a mess, a complete mess. And for those in PF who say they'll be arrested, I know HH just as you know him, but I keep on telling them only the guilty are afraid. If you have not stolen...
It's a principle of life.
Exactly. Only the guilty are afraid. What are they afraid of? If you have not committed any crime, why should you be afraid? In fact, you should be celebrating, because HH is a good leader. I've never seen such a calm person. What I saw in Chipata on Thursday, I was telling my friends, I was busy on the phone with him. I said, look, please don't open that door. That door, he says, no man, I know. If I open this door, they will arrest me for damaging government property. I've never seen such a leader so calm in my life.
Yeah, I'm sure you were watching that on a live broadcast, because when I learned that, I was back in Mazabuka at home, when I learned that they had closed him out on the runway, I phoned Mr. Lungu, the commissioner of police for Eastern Province. Do you know what he answered me? He said, don't waste my time. And this is a guy who is paid using my tax money. Everything I do here on this farm where I live, I rear cattle, I do vegetables, I do everything that I do, all the economic activities, they culminate into a certain contribution towards the taxes of this country that go to Control 99. That pays that Mr. Lungu. He told me, don't waste my time. And so it was at that point I said, time now has come to write the names of all these public officers who are misbehaving. And you know what that means. When people say we are going to write the names down, it means they're going to be a reference point sometime in the future. They're going to serve as a reference point sometime in the future. Can you imagine how, God works miracles? And, miracles are for those who believe. If on the 13th, we are the ones who Zambian people, courtesy of them, are going to give the realms of power, where is Mr. Lungu going to be? The one who says I'm wasting his time.
I feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for people like that. We haven't got enough time, Honorable Garinkombo, because you need to sleep. I will not waste your time asking you about Kambwedi. We call him on this forum, I have no time for that. And I know you being a Tonga, for me, I'm always being accused to say I'm a Tonga, I'm a Bantu Botato, and I don't apologize for that. I want to ask you about Kambwedi.
I have nothing to worry about Kambwedi. I can make a comment that I'm settled to talk about Kambwedi because I know him inside and outside.
So what do you think about his comments about the Tonga people?
I mean, look, we are talking about an uncultured human being in a very brief manner, very uncultured individual. You know that I confronted him when he was talking a lot of, unpalatables about me in a radio station in Chinsali. And as I was asking him straight questions, I was dabbing him. And he was saying, Mulamu, here's a guy who lives for the moment only. That's the way I understand the guy. These are people, Norman, who have lived their lives basically on taxpayers. They cannot survive in opposition politics. Do you understand? They can't survive in opposition politics, where some of us have lived our lives. And can you imagine for one moment if there was no opposition in this country?
That would be something.
Just stop to think. If all of us decided, well, PF is the way to go, where would the whole country be driving itself to?
Crazy.
This
the final question
dispensation is for the strong. It's not for the weak. It is for the strong people who will be able to stand against the tide of a strong wind, such as PF.
Before I open up one or two questions from my colleagues on the panel, because it would be unfair for you to go, Honorable Garinkombo, I'll give a chance to one or two of my colleagues to ask you, in case I didn't ask a good question. But in general, I'm part of UPND team. I've been following the campaigns. In your view as chairman of elections, what do you think? What do you think is happening in the country? How are we doing? How is our campaign going? Despite being told not to fly, despite being, people are being arrested, despite being, some of the campaigns cancelled, despite being threatened, what do you think is happening with our campaign?
Well, look, the campaign is just an activity. I would rather we talk about the state of the nation, Norman, and relate it to the campaign. And this is what I have to say, that Zambia is in a state of an emergency, health-wise. Okay?
Yeah.
Go into the hospitals. I heard you guys talking about trying to get oxygen cylinders to try and save lives as a result of the bout of the COVID that we suffered. We have an educational emergency. All social sectors are in an emergency. And the quicker an ordinary voter understands that we are actually running a state of emergency, the better for us. The better for us. Because everything requires to be reprofiled. Everything requires to be dealt with. Everything is rusted under PF. And so we're in a state of a typical social emergency because people are in dire straits. The way we live our lives in this country is like, like a war zone. You understand? It's a difficult thing to survive in this country. It is for the strong. It is for the strong.
Yeah. I understand because
coming to the campaign, because I've just told you how difficult life is in this country.
Yeah.
Coming to the campaign, we are slowly ushering the decision to the people because we have lobbied them, we have spoken to them. The Bemba says survival Ninkondo, Kuno Kuzambia. If you can manage to have 3 square meals in a day, then you are lucky. All right? And so slowly we are unbuttoning to leave the Zambian people to come to the table on the 12th to vote. Whether today they say no more campaigns in the whole country, I think that the whole country now is pretty much set. It's on its marks and it's getting ready to move. They'll move either the PF way or the UPN way because this is a 2-horse race. Make no mistake about it, and don't even waste your time talking about other, people. This is a 2-horse race between the good and the bad. All right? And so it is about how people are positioned, how they're angled, because depending on how, where you're standing, you see life differently. Okay? There'll be long-term viewers and short-term viewers. We think we are the long-term viewers, and the PF are the short-term viewers. Those who can wake up the next day and start praise singing about themselves to say, oh, today the exchange rate has moved from 22 to 18. And you ask them, what happened? They don't know.
Wow.
They have no clue. They don't have a clue. That's what I got to say.
Wow. Honorable Ngombo, we have been trying at TV Wakwe to tell the Zambians that the economy is a mess. We have been trying to explain, to say, FISIP is a mess. You know, we met through agriculture. I'm very much interested in the agriculture side. FISIP is a complete mess. Education is a mess. The health sector is a mess.
Those are the emergencies. Those are the emergencies.
You and I many years ago were working on agriculture. So when we talk of agriculture, we know what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Now Zambians should understand that this is what we've been trying to do in the last few weeks to say, Zambians, the issue you have here is to continue with this mess for another 5 years and end up like Zimbabwe or something worse than Zimbabwe, or have a new team which knows what they're doing and try and clean up this mess. It might not happen overnight, but it will take some bit of time to clean this mess up. But this mess has to be cleaned up. This is the message which we've been passing out here. And we brought in Honorable Sogotwani here, we brought in a lot of people. The truth is that our country is in a mess, economically, socially, and otherwise. We need to resuscitate it. That is the truth. So the decision is in 10 days' time, 9 days' time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on the panel only, I didn't ask anybody on our viewers ask questions. I'll give you the privilege. I'll only allow 3 questions because Honorable Gary Nkombo has to go.
I've got the time. No, I'm at home.
Time. Okay.
I'm at home.
Let's go.
Let's go. I'm at home. I'm easy.
Yeah, I will go. I will only allow 1 question.
Allow as many. Okay.
Gary, we have to go to bed. This is 23. Okay. Since we're trying to get you for the past 1 week, let's go first. I'll go to Percy in London.
I think it's good morning, Honorable, where you are now, isn't it? Because it's midnight.
Well, it's midnight now. How are you? Casey is your name?
Percy,
Yeah,
Percy is my name.
Yeah. There's actually one thing. It's about the police for me. You know, because the police answers straight to the president, right? So what I'm thinking, I don't know, you as a parliamentarian, you'll be able to correct me, and our in-house lawyer will correct me if it can't be done. For example, like, you mean you can't have a parliamentary committee which is in charge of appointing a police officer? I mean, not a police. I mean a police commissioner. Whereby is it possible to take a little bit of power from the president, whereby he's not directly in charge of the police, whereby you've got that parliamentary committee which is more like the main answerable, whereby they can fire the high commissioner, the police commissioner. Is it possible? That's my first question, basically.
Okay, let's take the second question, please. The lady, we didn't give you the chance to speak. Fred Head, our lady. Fred Head.
Yes, please. It's free hill. It means freedom. I'm from the diaspora, but typical Zambian.
Where are you, Freedom?
Denmark.
In Denmark. Go ahead. What's your question?
My question to Honorable Gary Nkombo is, just really concerned. I've been following this program, and thank you for Munsha. My question concerning the consignment, which is being held, and looking at today's all the countries in the world, they are scared of this terrorism and receiving things which is unknown. And how how are you going to be sure that this consignment cannot be sneaked out, regardless if you know that these are the telephones and whatever gadgets are in, and what security is there that ECZ or probably the government cannot sneak out those things and probably try to mount to if I can use that the right term to say, if they cannot rig the elections, what is the guarantee? Is it possible that the opposition or the opposition can team up and say that if these things are not, we cannot find the owner, they have to be banned in the presence of the public within 48 hours, because now we are heading towards the elections. Because this is scary. You can't be keeping something with the security concern. It could be anything.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll give Kulimba the last chance because you are a member of UNIP, not UNIP, UPND. Wiseman, please.
Thank you very much, General. I think it's a privilege to speak one-on-one with my election chairman, Honorable Gary Nkombo. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, thank you.
Thank you very much. I've got a question, General, and I've got a concern as well. You will forgive me, but I'll be quick. The question is in line with the lady, how she has asked, as us as UPND, as my chairman has said, we believe that the ECZ, the police, and they are working in partnership with the PF to make sure that they can suppress Zambians in these elections. Then, why have we trusted them to keep those gadgets if we know that the police and the ECZ, they are working in collaboration to disadvantage the opposition? Because for me, to be truthful, Honorable Gary Nkombo, I thought UPND could have provided their own security to secure even the ballot papers. Who knows? Maybe in those boxes there were bombs. Immediately on 11 August, one day to vote, bombs blasted in that room and ballot paper on fire. Again, it will be another process of start looking for funds to go and print another ballots, and that one now it will mean to suspend the election and to adjust election to a further date. So for me, I've been thinking twice about those boxes. No one knows. We don't know what they are planning. We don't know anything, and you can be surprised to hear that no ballot papers, just like the way City Market was gutted without knowing the one who put fire on that market. Who knows? Maybe those are bombs. They can from nowhere blast in that room and burn our ballot papers. Then definitely that will mean to postpone our election. So why can't you go there? As we know you are furious, you are able to go and put fire on them to make sure that you give them pleasure and to make sure that they release those things so that we can burn them even tomorrow. As we are waiting, there's a lash. Lastly, my concern, I'm a polling agent. I've been picked here in Kawe Central. I'm a polling agent, but I've got a concern, Honorable Garding Combo. If you big people, big fishes we know in our party, giants, you have been followed by PF, try to buy you, and you have stand to that pressure. You have said no, but you have decided to remain with the Zambian people. Don't you think young ones like us will be enticed as well with money which we have never seen in our life to make sure that we suppress our country? My appeal to you, Gary Nkombo, is that being election chairman for UPND, I would appeal for you to go around the country and meet these polling agents, young guy, console them, educate them, give them confidence, make sure that the leadership of UPND is with them so that they can feel just your presence. It will mean a lot, just like the way Akainde HLMI is passing through this country. Just his presence is meaning a lot. So could you please, just from these few days remaining, could you try to spare your time and try to meet us polling agents to educate us about the wrongdoing of selling our country just because of money? Because you people, you have passed such kind of journey on Bill 10 and on other ways. Could you please try by all means to make sure that you can communicate with us? Thank you very much.
Okay, Honorable Gary Nkombo, I'll give you one question from the online, the people are viewing, and then you answer those four. This question is from Florence Mundongo Corriera, I think, is what measures have you taken to protect the vote? I know it's a very difficult question for you because some of these measures wouldn't be discussed on TV, but I don't know how you answer that. So up to you, Honorable Gary Nkombo, those four questions, please. The Police Inspector General being appointed by Parliament, and what are you doing to deal with the stranger cargo? How about having it burnt? And visiting the polling agents to avoid them being bought by the big buyers in PF.
Okay.
Over to you.
Yes, thank you. I'll begin with Florence about the voter protection. To begin with, I must say that, once bitten, twice shy. I'm sure that's a loaded statement. The Electoral Processes Act, number 35 of the laws of Zambia, like I said earlier on, is very prescriptive, and we do not need what you are now commonly calling voter protection. If we were living in an ideal world, you did not need anyone to protect the votes, because the votes will be cast, they'll be in a ballot box, they'll be counted, they'll be declared. The reason why this concept of voter protection came is because of shenanigans, it's because of robbery, it's because of people not following the prescribed processes. Don't forget, in Kenya, there was in the last election where Uhuru Kenyatta won, and it was nullified, despite there being a difference of about 4 million votes. It was nullified because of failure to follow the due processes, in this case, the primary source document, the document at the polling station. That document is enough. Those who crafted the law made it in such a way that before, when I was growing up, my dad was a unique, stalwart. you know, they used to escort the ballot papers to the counting center. And as the law started evolving, all you needed is a stamped document, which is the primary source document called Gen 20 today. And after that, you do not need anyone to come and do anything to protect this vote. And I'm trying to answer the question from the lady. But unfortunately, we are living in a world that is so unideal that our experiences in the past from 2011, and don't forget that year 2011 is a year when change happened from MMD to PF. What we experienced in Matero, in the whole of Lusaka, was unheard of. Polling agents being smoked out of the polling station, being beaten up and thrown out, and people declaring themselves winners without the presence of all the other players, is where this thing called voter protection came from. In an ideal situation where people have got mutual respect for one another and allow the votes to be counted as they were cast, and not allow a gang of people coming to seize a polling station, beat the living daylights out of the people who are running the affair, smoke out the agents of the competitors, and declare yourselves winners. That will not be condoned this year. And I'll end there, Madam. In terms of voter protection, I've started by saying we don't need this concept. And when UPNB comes into office in the next few days, courtesy of the Zambian people, there will be no reason for gangs and gangsters hanging around the polling station after 18 hours in order to cause shenanigans and trouble. That will not be allowed under the leadership of Mr. Hichilema. Don't forget, it actually happened before in our past, where when Levi Manawasa, son of the Somme, so rest in peace, took over this country, he only took one word to say the law has got no color and there will be no sacrificial lambs. If you are going to offend the law, you are on your own. This is the new beginning that we are looking for as UPND, where there's going to be peace, law, and order in this country, so that the disorderly people can be seen from a mile away. That is what Mr. Hichilema brings to the table. As far as we are concerned, I want to tell you, colleagues on this platform and all of you that are listening, that PF has been thriving on confusion. That is what has kept PF going. Confusion, utter confusion. They've gone to the extent of now forcing people to wear if you don't wear a PF t-shirt, they've reached a point where you are either with us or you are against us. And if you are against us, you are a victim. Can I move on to Mr. Nkulimba? I think most of what he said was basically advice, that there's a lot of patronage, people buying each other. That's a new term in Zambia. They bought an MP, they bought a councillor.
That's Wiseman. Wiseman is the one who asked the question, the polling agent, Honorable.
Yes, I'm coming to that because he talked about some of us who resisted the purchase during Britain and the times, the good old days when the times were bad, when they wanted to pass a law that was going to bring this country many years back. This, Mr. Nkulimba, is not a fight for the faint-hearted, unfortunately. It is not a contest for the faint-hearted. Mr. Wiseman Nkulimba, is that his name?
No.
That's Wiseman. Mr. Nkulimba is somebody else. The Wiseman is the one who asked the question about the polling agents.
I was following you, Norman, because I was writing. It's you who called him Nkulimba and then you said Wiseman. So I wrote both names. So Mr. Wiseman, Mr. Wiseman, I want you to understand that I said this before in this conversation, that there's impunity in this country. And impunity has got no other definition. It's impunity, where people do not care about how others feel. The issue about polling agents, I want you to know that we have done what we've never done before. If it hasn't happened in Kabwe, give me a call after this platform so that I can now tell you what we've done as a party, and for me to start divulging exactly how we've engaged The training processes will be tantamount to exposing our strategy. So I want you to bear with me that we have done everything that is humanly possible to make sure that all our polling agents first understand the task that is ahead of us. That it's not an event for the day, it's an event for the future. Okay? And you know that election is not an event, it's a process. And it's a life-changing process. That's what we should all understand. It is a life-changing process because you don't vote every day. And so we have tried, the one thing that I can say without even preaching is that our selection of polling agents, including yourself, has been done so carefully to make sure that we choose people of integrity, people who understand that we cannot compromise on our revolutionary moral standing, that we are thirsty for change, and that, you know, those who want to compromise, this is not the place for them. They can go to the back seat, while those of us who are thirsty for change, like yesterday, can move the agenda. And so, wise man, there will be people in this country who believe, and that's all you need to believe. Once you believe even miracles, you can move mountains. Those who believe that time to change has come cannot be compromised over 30 pieces of silver. They cannot do that. But you obviously find people who may be compromised. We are all in the game of compromise. We are also trying to compromise some peer people. That I can tell you. It's a game of outdoing one another. So we're also doing our best, and we fished quite a lot of them out of here. Freedom from Denmark, Copenhagen. How is that place? I once went there when we were doing the COP17, and I love that society. The issue about rigging and tampering with people's desires. It is real. This is Africa, my friend. We are living in Africa here, where people do not respect other people's, the majority feelings. And this is where the word rigging comes from, the word that you used yourself, that, it is not the government, as you put it. It is the PF. It's the ECZ and the PF. Because the government is you and I. It's just that the people that are leading this government are called PF. That is the way it works. It is a PF-led government. The PF are not the government. They are just leading the government. And this is the reason why we're having this activity called an election, because it provides an alternative via people's voices and people's choices. And in my own view, I'm quite sure that there will be tampering that will go on at every step of the way for what works for them, because they're in the driving seat. They're the ones leading this government called the Government of the Republic of Zambia. And so to remove a government is no easy task, my dear friend from Denmark. But once people are resolved that they're going to knock out these people via a democratic process called an election, they will not be the first ones to be removed from power. And I think that, in as far as I'm concerned, their time of reckoning has actually arrived. Percy talked about the police commissioner, the Inspector General of Police is actually called. There are many offices, including the ECZ. As far as we are concerned, we've advocated, and when Mr. Hichilema, courtesy of the Zambian people, takes over leadership of this place, we're going to first create a truly independent electoral commission, whose commissioners are going to be drawn from interest groups called political parties. Can you imagine if the decision that they made today to ban UPND from any campaigns in Kanyama until further notice? Can you imagine if the commissioner, one of the, like Alice Mwenga, Emily Sikazo, Mutiti Ndiyoi, Mutiti, even Judge Chulu himself, and all those that are there, if they were coming from different political persuasions, the obvious thing is that there would have been the dissenting voice to say, look, what is good for the goose, good for the gander, because just last week, Joram was killed. A UPNB member was killed at 11 hours via, stones and clubs and sticks and fists and pangas by PF people. So nothing happened to PF. Mandev is still functioning. They're still campaigning. Everything is going on all right. And yet a life was lost. Is it because 2 lives were lost now? I still argue that 1 life lost is 1 life too many. And the principle is the same. Somebody stopped breathing as a result of a violence. So the issue, come on. We lost Lawrence Banda and Kanyama by a gunshot straight in the forehead. They took him out of his life. There was no stopping of the campaigns in Kanyama. So isn't it strange that this time around, as a result of a very, very unfortunate, event, I must say, and because we believe in sanctity of life ourselves in UPND, as a result of this unfortunate event, immediately the police became the judge, the investigator, the jury, the hangman. So did the ECZ. What about Joram, who was killed last week? Why didn't they take the same posture? Somebody must answer that question. Is it because it's their bedfellows called PF who are involved in this? I think that I leave it up to you. But to answer your question more straight, when UPND comes into power, all constitutional officers, we're going to make amendments in the manner that they are appointed. Right now, the Police Inspector General is basically handpicked by the President. His name is brought to Parliament for ratification, which is called the rubber stamp. And once the ratification comes, there's no process of removing him other than the President. And this is what creates this excessive power for the President. Right now, the judiciary is at the whim of the President. The police at the whim of the President. The ECZ at the whim of the President. The Zambia Air Force at the whim of the President. All the state institutions are at the whim of the President. Now, can you imagine? Because in the Constitution, there's a provision that actually provides for removal of a president who has lost his mind. You understand? Now, even that, who then bails the cat to say the president is out of his mind? Let's assume he's got dementia or disease such as that. It is difficult to remove a president with all these setups. So we want to balance our society ourselves when we come into power. If we do come into power, get it of the Zambian people, that we're going to decentralize the power to the people by giving delegated authority to that committee of parliament that you referred to yourself, that it is the committee that is going, when you want to invoke removing a constitutional office holder, it shouldn't be just the president. In South Africa, it's an advanced democracy. They have recalled presidents before. You know what happened to Thabo Mbeki? They didn't have to have an election to bring Kanyama Motlanthe. When the time came, the ANC just recalled Thabo Mbeki, and life continued working in South Africa. That is what we are looking for. The Electoral Commission of South Africa is truly independent because it functions on the representation of different interest groups. I hope I've answered you. Right now, we are living in a very loop-sided where the presidency becomes so powerful that if you are identified by the president, look, example I can give you, the late, I think she's late now, maybe she's not late, Chachire Sakunda was appointed by Mr. Michael Satra against the law that she had attained an age beyond. And it took a lot of trouble for us to say, no, Mr. President, think through this. This woman is older than the prescribed age. And if we were not elect, they would have appointed her. You understand what I mean? And so there are many people who ordinarily would not qualify to become constitutional office bearer. But because of hegemony, patronage, they find themselves in that place. And one such person, and I'm not ashamed to say, is Mr. Kakoma Kanganja. He is not fit to be a police inspector general.
All right. Now,
over to you,
thank you very much, Honorable Gary Nkombo. We have been looking for you. Actually, it's not just us, but several of our listeners, they stayed up last night. Was it last night or the other night? We went into 0102 waiting for you to tune in. So we are very excited to have you. And I went off a little bit because I had some business to attend to, but came back, and so I'm very excited that I could join you here. I know that we've passed the time here, and we look forward to having you again before the election in just 10 days. Are you going to honor the invitation and come back?
I've always been desirous. I mean, I admire all of you. Norman and I come a long, long way. We talked about agriculture. I was once upon a time in the 90s managing a successful program called Agriculture Credit Management Program, ACMP, which is a copycat of this FISIP is a copycat of that. And so, Mr. Munsha, I'm also very delighted to talk with you today, this evening. And I look forward to another interaction and conversation with yourselves. Hopefully, people are going to get the benefits of this interaction, and to see that people mean well in everything that they do. And for now, I can only say I wish you well where you are in the diaspora. We need your hands in every way possible to make sure that we sensitize our people on what is good for the greater, country, the nation Zambia, and that we need to build it in such a manner that it's going to outlive all of us, and people that are coming after us are going to enjoy the fruits and the benefits of the decisions that we make.
Thank you. If we're going to diaspora, it just feels like we are just a few meters away from Zambia. It doesn't feel very far at all. And I think it's because of technology, because of the passion, because of the interest, and because of the dedication of people like you that are on the ground. During the Butane debate, what happened during that debate was you, together with your colleagues, you stood strong and saved Zambian democracy. We commend you for that. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Now I have Mr. Kelvin Chanda Kafwimbi. Now, Mr. Chanda Kafwimbi is always gets preferential treatment on TV Bakwetu, because on TV Bakwetu we are a little bit biased. Particularly, we are biased towards those that send the stars and the supporters of the TV and everything else. So we need to give them. That's the whole reason. So because they support this TV station, so we are biased towards them. If you want us to be biased towards you, please. Bakafwimbi. We have Mr. Garin Kombo here.
Oh, there's no bias. Well, Honorable Nkombo, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much. And how are you, sir?
I am very fine. No, actually, you know me, I'm one of your young ones, a very good friend to Ben, Bamutinta. 20, 30 years ago, you always used to put us in line to South Africa when we are going offline, Yeah, although Ben is very close to my young brother, Peter Kafwimbi, from Joburg.
Of course,
but,
Peter and Johannes.
On this program, but he was always, as he is, always cool, calm, and collected, and always very reasonable in advice. Nomba, I just wanted to actually just the suggestion by the young man, wise man. I even put up a comment there. I know there's so many polling agents that you need to talk to. I just had a small suggestion, which by maybe that he can put through the donation of the stars to help you. If you come on to the program, and then TV Bakwetu can help sponsor these people to get some data, because not all of them are financially sound. Sorry about that noise.
No,
to help those young people, yes, to help those young people come and you have a conversation with your agents, because moving around is going to be impracticable with the 8 days left, 8-9 days for us. But if you could get them online and then you give them the best advice you can, obviously you've put in a lot of mechanisms and a lot of mechanisms to educate as many of them as you can. But through the virtual media, you are going to have access to as many as possible. So about TV Bakwetu, normally we give stars, and these people, they are able to distribute the stars in whichever capacity they are needed, they are necessary. Babakwetu, they do a Zampe. They don't have to do a Zampe. They can say those that are eligible members, can you contact these people? They'll get you some data, because on this day you have to speak to
No. This TV Bakwetu is different and distinct from UPND. We don't run UPND programs. We just need to be clear there.
But okay, myself, I was with the Green Party before. But why am I associated here? Just like you here, NDC, and you are associated here. So apparently, it's just temporal. It is just temporal. Let us, the endorsements. Let us fulfill the endorsements.
You've got passionate supporters. You see, the UPND has passionate supporters. TV even UPND. Anyway, we'll look into that.
But a suggestion, put it on, and then we're going to start putting up the umbrella for him to have a conversation with the agents. As the Green Party, as NDC, as everyone, we will say, okay, after all, there is an alliance. Finch Muleland.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. Maybe before we part company, I must allay your fears. If you recall, I was a bit restrained to give any answers about the training of polling agents. I need you to know from this moment going forward that we have trained all our agents thoroughly. And this is a program that we've been running with for the last 3 months. And so there's no panic about it. There's no ad hoc arrangements. It is all set, and we have people who are supervising the monitoring and evaluating as we go towards 12, so that these people that we trained are the same people that are going to perform these functions. They are alert in mind, they are alert physically, and they are alert otherwise. So I think that I needed to, to allay your fears.
No, Wiseman, we will not come to you. This is what we do. Wiseman, you can stay on when we finish this segment, and then we are going to have the usual discussion we have. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Mr. Mukelabai.
Yep.
Oh, thank you. I thought this time would never come. Good evening. Good evening, Wadala. No, rwinarwiketile hakuna kutata kuchisafera kwanu. We are in summertime. I'm in Scandinavia and sure. No, what I wanted to ask you, Honorable, was one thing about what you guys are doing about the banning of OHH of traveling and the suspension of the UPND from is it Kanyama?
It's Kanyama is the second one. There was a Kelenge first, and now Kanyama. Yes. Program on that.
But have you
okay. Yeah, but that's exactly what Honorable Nkombo was talking about all this time. Yeah. So now that's what kind of
No. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm sorry. Maybe I missed out that. But what I wanted to know was, have they instituted any legal proceedings, or it's just by writing letters? Because knowing our government, the way they respond to, like you gave an example of when you contacted the Commissioner Lungu in Chipata, who responded to you negatively, and I'm talking about administrative or rather illegal backup. How would you? I don't know. Maybe I don't understand. I don't know if you understand my line of thought here. So
I do. I mean, I want you to know that for everything that has happened around these processes, there's been continuous meetings with the ECZ, interface with us, interface with PF, sometimes joint meetings with PF, to try and resolve these matters. If you recall, when there was a ban in Lusaka, at the time before they lifted the ban, we had to be called to a meeting. Mr. Davis Mwila was there, Mr. Batuke Menda was there, I was there, Jack was there, Mr. Judge Chulu and his commissioners were there. And we had a conversation, and then we agreed that at one point, they would have to unfreeze it, and so they unfroze it. So all these things are not happening without continuous conversation. We are talking to each other.
Okay.
We are speaking to each other.
So do we have
this
any
is the reason
light
why?
at the end of the tunnel
This is the
that
reason why.
Mr. Mkeleba, can you give Honorable Nkombo the chance to talk? If we have two people speaking at the same time, we can't hear. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, this is the reason why, Mkeleba, that at a critical moment like now, I find myself in Lusaka City, although I live in the peripheries of Lusaka, rather than in Mazabuka defending my seat, because by virtue of my portfolio, there's so much that requires to be done with these unfolding events. When Norman told me there was a program, I was actually driving on the gravel road from about 80 kilometers away, where I went to do certain things for our political party. So there's continuous conversation that's going on there. It still goes without saying that sometimes the decisions that I finally made are not pleasing, but we are walking a tightrope, we are running a rough road, but don't forget that the Jericho road was not the easiest of roads, and this is one such road that we have to travel on, and we are sure we're going to get to our destination.
Thank you very much, Honorable Gary Nkombo. Please do not go away. We are just going to end this broadcast, and there's going to be a discussion in the background. For those that are still on the platform here, please don't leave. Stay on. We've got to end the broadcast, but the discussion in the background is going to continue. Thank you very much for having joined TV Bakwetu today. We are going to bring Honorable Gary Nkombo another day between now and Elections Day. This has been a presentation from both Scotland with my fellow presenter, co-presenter, and co-host, General Norman Chipakupaku. Thank you so much and good night.
Good night from Scotland.
And good night from Zambia.